and Omama say Omon country no almost a cost by 11%. But Omama say Omi undecided Swati about 12%. Now, Oba run of us, said Baran of one on Betuama, still Bawumia 46%, Kennedy 23%, 15% say not disclosed, and 16% say undecided.
Yes, Ebusia, Yase Shevium, Anne, and then so ye da fofra ye nyankopon waye. Now de nkwane ahoden e de ache yen. Senne won saka video ya mesa also subscribe or subscribe our channel no so na ye the video bi atuma won saka. MPP abato ya na ye guma ache se ye hwede a enoma ebeko na ye de mu abebo because ye do yen ni na ye to anamo na ye ko ebo. Ebusia King of post say yen hwehwemu ni yamfa hu nsam beto gade asesi Ghana ha oka asam kyerɛwa a wai sam konhyeni ɔhwɛ nkom na wanye ni na odi hu agro yebesiu oka se obewu na so odidi agro ubetu ni oda adakamram ayeto onyame na domara kwa yeda ho tiasi yede bia ko ni edoko yekusiu ane. Yes, Musa Dankwa edi post bi apa montia o say as of enna ye kase se ye kotoa ba enne ya Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia when we near titim watitim kra na nia de wom ne say out of 16 regions no emu 14 regions Bawumia pa enye Musa Dankwa nko a ada post bi nso abamontia omo nyina e predict win for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia yebekọ ne ekwakutie na yehun se de omoka no se ne city na edwuma Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia eye no ekweyi ana se ne city abuja message obe share obe like obe comment obe share na onua susu enyi bi wahwe yenko Musa Dankwa first iwia yetie dia etoaso yenko.
Yo, you're my global informatics. My name is Musa Dankwa, and I'm the Musa Dankwa head poster at Global Informatics. And then the same baby to you regarding MPP race now or Mokotono. Any delegate in the last few days ago. Any delegate 2,643 and all the 16 regions. 99% confidence level. Margin of error is 2.4%. Yen delegate Ekasai from 270 out of 276 constituencies randomly. Until the numbers are quite good in terms of coverage. You know, BI Ekasai roughly. Now, yen share Emma Hine Kasai, Emma 24%, Mema 76%. Or share age group no, Duanwa already 44 years, 35 to 44, 44%. 25 to 34, 15%. 18 to 24, 1%. 45 to 54, 30%. And 55 to 64, 7%. Muhammad 65, 3%. Now you're calling saying, yeah, overall the outcome. See there, baby, and MPP reason is it. Oh, share. Oh my, no link it. I some say why on Betuama. They got to abandon there. 44% say on Betuama, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. 19% say on Betuama, Dr. Brian Champon. 1% say on Betuama, Dr. Yao or say Educhum. And 1% say on Betuama, Kobna GHPon. But they move 15% say Omunim the on Betuama, but one country 15%. You found not disclosed for. And I move 15%, so say Omodia, Omunya, Omadri as to who to vote for yet. Into Usha, Bawumia LED with 44%, Kennedy with 19%. But the air who say mostly Omo Amkase main country no Omutaye Kennedy for. Into with the 15 o'clock in Ken Hua, Quen Beko 34%, Bawumia 44%. So in that kind of analysis, no, Bawumia LED at about 10 points. Then the question is among Obama say Omuya undecided no, Ombetu say, oh, and asem no. So every candidate has to work harder on those who are undecided. Now, we share the comparison between September and now. September, who say Bawumia perform by 3% compared to now. Kennedy ako sort by 2%. Brian ako sort by 2%. And Oma say Omon country no, almost ako sort by 11%. But Oma say Omi on side Swati about 12%. Now, Oba runoff say runoff one on Betuama still Bawumia 46%. Kennedy 23%. 15% say not disclosed, and 16% say undecided. What the 15 not disclosed? Eka Kendi Ahua, Obenya 38%. Roughly the same number of votes Onyaye last time. Then the question is, who will the people who are saying undecided? Infano Ombeko. That is where Hona I'm saying reason no. Now, we share runoff. Say a runoff. Omo amotuma Bawumia in round 1 no ahe na besan to amane biom emu 96% say on besan to amane biom but 3% is switch from Bawumia to Kennedy 1% say omo disclose omo amotuma Kennedy no emu 7% ko Bawumia ho na 92 say on besan to ato amaken into we share roughly Bawumia again more in a runoff chain Kennedy GHPon. In terms of Oma Motuma Omono, Bawumia Crawford, only 3% and change your margin, but Ken for the 7% as sound margin. Now, Oma Motuma branch champion, so a muted 1% a better Bawumia, but 44 a better Kennedy. Oma Motuma Edichum, 39% a better Bawumia, and another 39 better Kennedy. Oma Motuma Kobna GHPon, 42% for Bawumia, and 35% for Kennedy. Oshia race no across the regions no. Bawumia leading a half 38%. Kennedy 11%. Oba Ashanti region Bawumia 39%. Kennedy 28%. Brian Champo 9%. Oba Ahafu Bono Bawumia 44%. Kennedy 10%. Oko Kumbuni Isa Bawumia 55%. Kennedy 20%. Oba Central, Bawumia 50%, Kennedy 16%. Oba Eastern, Bawumia 38%, Kennedy 27%. Brian 9%. Oba Greater Accra, Bawumia 36%, Kennedy 14%, Brian 3%. Oko North Eastern, Bawumia 52%, Kennedy 8%, Brian Champon 2%. Northern Region, Bawumia 69%, Kennedy 5%. Brian 2%. Oko Otia, Bawumia 39%, Kennedy 8%, Brian 5%. Oba Savannah, Bawumia 50%, Kennedy 23%, Brian 5%. Oba Upper Easter, Bawumia 46%, Kennedy 30%, Brian Champon 1%. Oba Upper Wester, Bawumia 64%, Kennedy 25%. Oba Volta, Bawumia 39%, Kennedy 9%, Brian 3%. Oba Western Regional, Bawumia 52%, Kennedy 25%, Brian 2%. Oba Western North, Bawumia 33%, Kennedy 16%, and Brian Champ also 6%. Until regional numbers no say anything. So overall no, what means Bawumia a drop about 3% compared to last time. Kennedy are gaining 2%. Brian so gaining 2%. So far this is the risk. And if you like this video, so we need the video, just like it and share it for it to go viral. Yeah, that was it. What they share this video. Thank you very much.
Yes, Ebusia, we ena odi atuja. Afi yansan ko another post and so na yenkwaje ono so nedia odi abeto mountain edi afa MPP abeya omo ebetu ya ehu yinti ono so.
Overall, if you aggregate everything out of the 16 regions, we find that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is leading in 14 of the regions, whilst Honorable Kennedy GHPon leads in 2 of the regions. Interestingly, we find an interesting trend, even though it looks like a 2-horse race. When we come to the eastern region, we find Honorable Dr. Brian also making some presence in the eastern region, even though he's not leading. But this is where he's showing the most presence relative to all the other regions. So, what basically this is saying is that if elections were held today, the MPP primaries were held today, and we are supposed to use this as a basis which is random and represents quite a number of the delegates who, in fact, is more than 10% of the delegates who are going to elections. This would mean that 63.8% of the delegates would have overwhelmingly endorsed Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, whilst Honorable Kennedy GHPon would have obtained 28.9% of the vote. Other members in the race, which is Honorable Brian Achampong, he would have pulled 4.6%, while the fourth place would have been Honorable Yao Osei Educhum, who would have made 1.5% and 1.2% for Pabna Achepong, respectively. This basically is what our work has shown so far.
Or Yanko, how they intend to vote. Dr. Bawumia 43%.
The canina
Bumwa, Omambo Ding, 43%. Omambo Ken Ding 18%. So gap no between Bawumia and Ken 25% gap. And a Brian 5%. Yao Educhum and a Kobna GHPon, they are under 0.5%. So roughly. And 15% say Omunim the Ombetwamba Omon country. Yes, 15%. But 19% say Omi undecided. I think on Bayer Madrid, some Thomas Messi and us Messi overall. But we share regional breakdown. Bawumia a lady in all the regions except voter region.
Bawumia lady baby region
except voter region and central. In voter region, Kennedy a lady 44% to 35%. In central no a tie. Bawumia 33, Ken 32%. In other regions,
Ken region.
Yes. Eastern region no Bawumia 40, Ken or 10, Brian or 10. So Brian Nick Kennedy at their face war Eastern region square at the moment. But almost say maybe undisclosed a dorsal in a half 14% undisclosed. Ashanti 20%, Bunu 15%, Bunu is 6%, Central 12%, Eastern 18%, Greater Accra 19%, Northern region, so Northeast 11%, Northern region 12%, OT 3%, Savannah 24%, Upper East 1%, Upper West near 0, Voter region 3%, Western region 22%, Western North 10%. Omon country. Omo very dangerous.
Yen country of
Abuja Mashada na mejai madia na nkasa aboa antesi a wankasa wahu de ekọ ani yiro hu ye adwumaden na edem fa so papa beba enya de ebe makwai ani Ghana ye Pentecost nya de o be pen ho apen botum claiming say Ghana ha chese onu kwa na afa workers we adwumam esun workers enu 200 mpo ani me de sa video no bebro abeto jasen Ken workers enu 200 to dia kalkuma to ye yes baby ukra 10 15 20 sa kikabom ya de bebro me de sa story bebro nti abusia de best answer share no nua so nya bi nhwe na no me na nkoso we info analytics for na edin semi abane others na wade won pools are why afa MPP delegate Bawumia is in the comfortable lead but a man in wabam you don't hear adwumaden e man so anya wutrim de na wonten na you don't hear adwumaden na e beso papa ya mi hraw onom kan ho mesra say share na normal enkoso kama kai say ha Zana GH TV macro.